Right, so hello everyone and welcome back to Southern Biker, and welcome to a video that I've been meaning to do for quite some time actually. I'm finally reviewing my 2016 Honda CB500F. If you've been around on the channel for a while, you'll know that a few years ago I did a sort of review video that I said wasn't a review video on my CB125F, and that did really well actually. I think it's currently sitting at something like 26,000 views. So it's about time I finally did the same video for this bike. So for those of you who are new to the channel, then yeah, this is a 2016 Honda CB500F. This is my second ever motorcycle. Let's go over why I got this bike. So I'm going to be honest, I didn't even think about getting something bigger and restricting it. I kind of like knew it was a thing, but didn't at the same time, so I didn't really look into that. I did originally want a Yamaha R3 to be honest, but insurance of those was crazy because they're fully fair and a sports bike, and I was 20, I think, when I first got the insurance quote on this. Actually, I might have still been 19. Either way, young age and a fully fair bike, the insurance was crazy. If it wasn't that, I did also temporarily look at the 500R version of this, which is fully faired, but yeah, same issue again. So that led me down towards obviously a naked bike. I basically narrowed it down between this and MT-03, but these were cheaper and easier to find, and this one popped up, I think it was on eBay, and then I found it on Auto Trader a bit later, all the way in Nottingham. And for those of you who don't know, I live in Southend, which is in Essex, so 4-hour drive up there. Yeah, it was a lot cheaper than any of the other 500s down here. Like the look of the bike, sat on it. Obviously I couldn't test ride it, but yeah, so I bought it and it got delivered to me about a week later. So let's go over the specs. Where are you doing? Please tell me you've seen me. You have. Look at that. The specs of this bike. Yes, I am reading these off my phone. I don't have good enough memory to remember these without it. So I'm just gonna go through the list. Let's get through this corner first. Lovely jubbly. So we have a 471cc parallel twin with a 180-degree crank, producing 47 horsepower, and that's for a 6-speed gearbox. The bike weighs 190 kilograms. I'm going to assume that's wet weight, and you have a 16.7 litre fuel tank. What else have I written down? We have a 785mm seat height. Fun fact, this has been lowered by about 15 mils on the front forks, and I never realised until about 2 months ago. And judging that I'm getting rid of this soon, there's not really any point in me getting that sorted now. It still handles fine. What else? Let's do this corner. That was a bit early on the gear change, I must admit. Round we go. Oh, that's nasty, isn't it? Right, just quickly make sure we're clear, and I will continue on with the specs for you all. Nice. So we have a 41mm conventional fork at the front with a adjustable preload, and here we have a junction. On the rear we have a ProLink monoshock with 9-stage, is it rebound or preload? It is rebound, I believe, that you can adjust. I have tried doing that once, and I'll be honest, I think it's kind of, either I'm not strong enough, or it looks like it's been left out in the rain and a little bit seized, so I've never bothered with that, but it is there. Right, let's talk brakes in a second. Right, so we have a single 320mm wavy disc on the front with a 2-piston caliper, whatever that means. Fun fact, I know on the later versions of this they changed that, so it had, I think there were smaller discs, but it gets 2 of them on the front. Bloody hell. Yeah, that's the joys of this road. I don't know if they changed the rear disc on the later ones. Obviously, this does come with ABS for anyone who wants to know. Obviously, if you're in America, then it might not, because I believe it's not, you know, a requirement by law to have ABS in America. And on the rear, we have a 240mm disc, which is a 1 piston caliber. I think I may have read some of the newer ones get 2. But yeah, that's pretty much all the specs. I didn't put down how much torque this makes, though. I have no idea. So I'll look it up and I'll throw it on screen how much torque this engine produces. But yeah, so if you are contemplating an A2 bike, obviously I know a lot of people go for the MT-07, most of my friends included. Even the A2 restricted MT-07 is quicker and torquey than this, so you know, if you are looking for more power, that is probably another option. I don't know how much the insurance will be though. But yeah, that's another reason I got this, was the insurance was just cheap. I did look at, I think I did a quote on a Z400 and this was cheaper. So yes, it's a Honda, innit? No one assumes you're going to be too crazy on a Honda unless it's a Fireblade, I guess. Right, so, come on Mr. Audi, get a move on. Right, so, what do I like about this bike? Well, first of all, the looks. I do quite enjoy the design of this bike, I guess you could say. Yeah, the colour's quite nice. It shines up decently enough. I've tried some of that muck-off silicone stuff for the first time at Jamie's recommendation. It does bring out a bit of a shine. Yeah, I mean, personally, over time, I think the looks of this, I think they're better than the MT-03. This is a much bigger bike in actual physical size as well, because I have ridden an MT-03 much later, and that bike's tiny. This looks like a much more substantial and bigger bike. I had someone yesterday, was it yesterday or the other day, genuinely ask me if this was a 650 or a 1000. I was like, it's only a 500. That was quite funny. And then I had one guy after I first got this ask if it was a 300, so swings and roundabouts, I guess. The handling on this bike, yeah, it's fairly decent. I did ride this around for ages with handlebar risers on and didn't even realise they weren't stock, so after I took those off, this definitely feels a bit more agile. You know, I'm confident enough to put it into a corner, but I'm nowhere near the confidence where I can get my knee down. Sometimes I do feel like I'm a bit too tall for this bike. Some good roads out here. What else? Going back to this being or looking and feeling more like a slightly bigger bike, it is quite nice a long distance. I have done some mini tours on this. I've never done anything too crazy. I wanted to, but nothing's really come off. Obviously I am hopefully going to do Scotland next year now, but I'll have a different bike by then. Also going on the size makes it good for pillions. Some of you will remember I have done a few videos with one of my previous partners. She came on the back, no complaints, said the seat was big enough, comfortable enough. Anything else to add on that? Nah, not really. Right, what else? Obviously speed and acceleration in this, when I first got on this I thought it was a rocket ship. Now I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Obviously hanging out with slightly bigger bikes makes you sometimes think, I wish this was a little bit quicker, but when you're on your own, it's plenty fast. If you are wondering, because I'm sure there will be people wondering, what's the top end on this? Officially it's 112. Can I confirm or deny that? I will not answer. Because you never know who's watching. The AI is going to get me. You know what, so we'll go this way. What else have I got on my list? I don't think the noise of the engine is too terrible. I mean, at least once you put a Black Widow on it. This did come with the Black Widow, so I've never really ridden this with the stock exhaust, but I have ridden, was it a 2023 one of these with the stock exhaust on a test ride, and it still sounded fairly decent, but obviously, you know, aftermarket is always going to sound better. The dash is quite nice and easy to read, even in the dark. Obviously it's no TFT or anything, it is a basic LCD I believe it's called. But yeah, it is nice and easy to read. The gearbox is pretty smooth. I have had to replace the clutch lever once. Yeah, not the clutch lever, well, I actually did put the stock one back on. I'm sure you've noticed that's not stock. I meant the clutch cable, that's what I've replaced. But yeah, gearbox nice and smooth, rev matching's nice and easy now that I'm used to it. I'm not really going to talk about tyres, because obviously these are second hand if you're going to get one like this, so they're all going to have different tyres on them now. I had Bridgestones on before, and now I've got Michelin Road Street 4s or something. The bike itself, underneath the pillion seat, there's little divots, I'm going to call them, in the fairings, which make it nice and easy to move this about by hand. I do have to move this in and out of the garden, so that's quite nice. This is going to be another weird thing. What I actually quite like about this are the indicators, and that's going to sound weird, but they're quite nice and bright, even though I think they're bulbs. And I've seen some bikes with indicators that are really dim, or they're so tiny I don't get how they get noticed, especially when like the sun's out. So as silly and as safe prone that's going to sound, I do quite like that. I mean, as soon as you get into Essex, the driving quality just drops. If you know, you know. What else is good about this bike? So this bike is actually quite good as a little like sports tourer, whether you're, I know it's not like a, you know, a VFR or anything, but if you're going up from a 125 or perhaps thinking about downsizing, you know, it's got the power to hold luggage on. I mean, you can fit panniers to this, you can fit top boxes. Shad and GV both do options. Obviously I had the soft Shad panniers, and I took those off to put the top box rack on. You can't have both unless you get the hard panniers with the top box, so that sucks, but there is quite a few options. I mean, I remember when I was looking for one of these, there was one of these up in Kent that had loads of luggage on it. I forget, about like 40,000 miles on it, so they will do the distance, or just commute to it to work every day. You know, it's got plenty enough power for zipping in and out of traffic. I mean, you could do it on a 125, so this is going to be fine. I believe that's pretty much it. I mean, another nice thing is the heated grips, but that's not standard, so you can fit those on any bike. Ooh, nice pop. The exhaust does occasionally pop and bang, but it's not massively crazy. It also does it when it's cold, and then once it gets warm it stops. I don't think it spits flames. If you do want a bike that does that, I've never had anyone say it does spit them. Right, I believe that's all I've really got to say about things I like. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. If I forgot anything, I'll put a little note on screen now for you all. But now it's time to move on to the things I don't like about this bike, and we're going to start immediately with what I call it Honda mirror syndrome, and that is that the mirrors on this, they don't really show too much. And both my 125 and this did this until I sorted it out. The right mirrors tend to get loose and just start vibing about all over the place. And I don't mean like they bounce up and down on the spot. I mean like you'll be going along and it will suddenly be like all the way around there. So yeah, that's a bit naff. I mean, I could have fitted bar into this, but where bloody hell, that's bump. Like I said, where I've got to get this in and out of the house, well, down the side of the house, if it's just about the width I can get through, any wider and I'd be scraping it all the time. Other thing that I don't really like, the brakes are fine. They're a bit wooden. There's not much feeling, especially in the front. Like you put the brake on, you're like, is that it? And then you start to pull more and more, and you don't actually think you're doing much. And then it, oh, pardon me, and then it does start to brake. I have had the brake fluid done on this, so I thought that's what it was. Perhaps there was air in the system, but nah, I think it's just these brakes. Oh, that probably is why they upgraded the brakes on the later version. Anything else I don't like about this? I've discussed the mirrors, I've discussed the brakes. What else? I think that might be it. I will scroll down on my notes in a minute, but I don't really want to do that while I'm riding. Right, so another thing that isn't, it's not bad, but I don't think they're as good as they could be, is the headlight itself. Like, the design's fine, but when you're on like roads where there isn't much lighting, I do feel like they could have made this a bit brighter. Where do I don't want to go? Let's go left. Yeah, I do feel like the headlight on this could be slightly brighter, even with the full beam. Then again, I've only got my 125 to compare it to, so it might not be as bad as I think it is. But yeah, sometimes I'm going, I'm like, doesn't really feel like it. I'm seeing massives, and yeah, the full beam don't make much difference. I thought that was a helmet on top of that van thing then for a minute. Only other thing is that after a while, and this has sort of started to affect me more recently than before, which is odd. My knees do start to get a bit like cramped or feel like they're gonna like lock up after a while. But I didn't used to have that at first, so I don't know why it started to do that. I mean, I'm not that old yet. I hope. But yeah, that obviously will be different for you. I probably should have mentioned how tall I am. I'm 6 foot, 6'1", about that. I haven't actually measured myself in a while. But yeah, so if you're a bit shorter than me, you might find it all right. Other than that, yeah, there's not really many complaints about this, to be honest. So I've had it for nearly 2 years. I've never got on it and thought, oh god, I've got to ride this thing again. He was loving it, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of and erring in this, isn't there? But yeah, are you crossing? I have no idea. So yeah, overall, this is a very fun and comfortable little bike. I know I mentioned long distance and then said about my knee, but it's only started doing that recently, and that's probably a me thing more than the bike itself. But yeah, so who do I actually think this bike is for? I mean, obviously, if you're looking for your first day 2 bike and don't want to restrict something, and you're in the naked market, this is a pretty good option. If you're looking to downsize, again, I feel like this is still powerful and decently sized, so it doesn't feel like a small bike or a 125. Obviously, if you want something more aggressive or something you can take on a track day, I wouldn't recommend this. Not in the slightest. I'm sure you probably could take it on a track day, but the 500R exists, and I'd just go jump on that if you wanted this engine. Obviously, yeah, if you want to use it as a tourer or a commuter, it is perfect with that, especially with the luggage options you can get. If you're looking for a stunt bike, we all know that everyone goes for an MT-07. This is not a stunt bike. It's definitely not an off-roader either. Although I have wanted to take this off-roading just to see how it would cope. That like just a little green lane or something, but I've never done it. But yeah, this is my CB500F. I love it, and it's been great. I've done about let's talk about miles I've done on it. I have, what was it, just under 7,000 when I got it, and it's now on almost 20,500. So yeah, I've done a fair bit of mileage on it. I doubled the mileage on it in the first year, so I have done extensive riding on this. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, hopefully soon enough I will have a new bike. I can do my Mod 1 is booked for the end of next month, and Mod 2 is booked for the start of October. No, November, sorry, November. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments, and ta-ta!